Bengaluru is a big policy push for us. We are encouraging people to invest outside Bengaluru so that we can not only decongest Bengaluru. Of course, traffic is always something that I get a lot of flack for, but that's a problem with every growing city. We are trying to solve as many problems as possible for a city that is growing so rapidly. But the idea of local economic acceleration program is to ensure investment goes to where talent is and not talent come where investment is. So for example, we are considering the Manipal, Udupi, Mangaluru as a cluster, the Mysuru, Ramnagar as a cluster, Kalburgi as a cluster, Hubli, Belgavi and Dharwad as a cluster. And it's just not that we are pushing private people to go there and say like, you invest there. No, we are investing as well. We have IIIT Raichur coming up, we have IIIT Dharwad, we have IIT Dharwad coming up there. And what is happening there? We are doing quantum projects in Dharwad. We are building Apple ecosystem, a supply chain for Apple in Belgaum. We are having fintech centers of excellence in Mangaluru, animation centers of excellence in Mangaluru. We run a global capability center, a health global capability center from Mangaluru in a Denmark health capability center from Mangaluru. 1,000 people sit under one roof. The Danish leadership also sits there. Morning they go surfing to Udupi for Shashiyatlu, to the Shashiyatlu beach at around 6:30, 7 a.m. By 9 a.m. they're in the office. Better air quality, of course. 15 minutes you are zipping across Mangaluru. The talent is there. So the idea of LEAP, which is going to help SMEs, MSMEs, innovation, inventions, is going to be the biggest disruptor the country has seen. Because we are going to ensure that these clusters, which are beyond Bengaluru, add at least 1% to their district GDP, and the district GDP adds at least 0.15% or 0.1% to the state GDP. So we will be the fastest growing state in a couple of years. So I'm not talking about 2047. I'm talking about what I'm going to do by 2027. The idea is acceleration. The idea is economic acceleration. And we are creating a system for this. We are going to ensure a single window system remains a single window system. A single window does not open up to many doors. So we are doing everything that we can. But the point remains that Karnataka and India needs to build on global scale. And we need to learn from each other's ecosystem. In fact, Karnataka is the only state in the country which has a global innovation alliance with over 35 countries. When I say global innovation alliance, it is just not limited to a sister city document or just a MOU between two cities. We have soft landings with those cities. We have market access to those cities. And vice versa. The startups that are there providing services, solutions, products, or whatever they have, their innovations, we give them market access from Bengaluru. So people from today's startups that are registered with the government of Karnataka have offices in Brussels, have offices in Dusseldorf in Germany, have offices in San Francisco, have offices in Australia, Vienna. All this has been done through the government. And this is how disruptive a state can be if you have the political will. This is a classic example. And to cut a long story short, all I want to say is that if we intend to be world leaders, if we intend to ensure that we provide the right ecosystem for the disruptors and the innovators, we need to ensure that we are very, very agile with our policies. And that can only happen when we work together as a team. So whether it is SAP or Rapido, or whether it is think tanks like CII or NASSCOM, we all need to come together for the bigger picture. We need to converge for policy making. We need to converge to exchange thoughts and ideas. Because I think we have it in us to build on global scale. We have it in us to build with purpose. We have it in us to build with compassion. We have it in us to build with speed. And more importantly, we have it in us to build with confidence for the world. It's just not for India, but I think India is ready to take the next big leap for the world itself. And I think this will only happen through conversations like this, like the Visionaries of Viksit Bharat by TV9 and SAP. And I'm looking forward. I think there are going to be a lot of discussions here. And if you think that any of these discussions or the outcomes of these discussions require any policy change, require any course correction, or you would require a new legislation, you know where I am. You have my number. You can just call up and let us know what needs to be done. We will ensure that we provide you the most conducive environment for growth. So thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for your invitation. And most importantly, thank you so much for your attention. Jai Hind, Jai Karnataka.
Thank you so much, sir. Another huge round of applause for Shri Priyank Kharge. Thank you so much, sir. You make me want to shift to Karnataka tomorrow itself or possibly tonight itself, but I'm not sure if that's possible. But thank you so much for putting a clear roadmap in our heads of the power and capability of the entire state of Karnataka. It's not just about Bengaluru anymore. And it's a good time then, without wasting any of your time, to felicitate some of the visionaries that we have gathered over here. And to do that, let me also invite on stage Mr. Nitish Agarwal, Chief Partner Officer, SAP Indian Subcontinent, and Editor, TV9 Network, Mr. Rahul Chaudhary on stage as well. Please. Okay. Without any further ado, let's quickly invite on stage the first visionary that we are felicitating. He is a true example of resilience. He turned 7 failed startups and over 75 investor rejections into one of India's biggest mobility success stories. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Pavan Guntupalli, co-founder, Rapido Bike of India. Up next, a transformative leader in India's engineering and manufacturing sector. He has driven the evolution of the SSS Group from the country's first spring manufacturer to a diversified enterprise spanning automotive, defense, electric vehicles, components, and real estate. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Satish Machani, Chairman and Managing Director, SSS Group. Up next, he's a pioneer in India's sleep solutions space. He helped transform a company from a small manufacturing unit into one of the country's leading mattress brands. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Shankar Ram, founder and CEO and Managing Director of Peps Industries Limited. Up next, an innovator who transformed a B2B or a business-to-business venture into one of India's fastest growing D2C or direct-to-consumer companies. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Siddharth Dungarwal of Snitch Apparels Private Limited. Up next, with over 40 years of retail leadership, he transformed a small family store into one of India's largest mobile retail chains. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Subhash Chandra of Sangeeta Mobiles. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, requesting Mr. Rahul Chaudhary to please take the seat. And now let me request Mr. R. Sridharan, Editor International of the TV9 Network, to please come on stage. Round of applause for Mr. R. Sridharan. And time now to welcome a second-generation leader shaping a legacy that began as a small Bengaluru store in the 1960s. He has been pivotal in driving strategic growth and innovation over here. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Dheeraj Jain of Quality Masala Pagaria Foods. Right, up next, we have somebody who's a seasoned leader with over 3 decades of excellence in manufacturing and finance. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Jairam Sampath of Keynes Technology, whole-time director and CFO. Now let me also invite on stage Mr. Vikram K, CEO of the TV9 Network, to please come on stage to join the felicitation party over here. Thank you. Right. Up next, we're talking about somebody again with 3 decades of leadership, 3 decades, and he's built the company into a trusted name in clean energy, innovation, breakthrough, and championing the philosophy of power for good. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. D.V. Manjunatha of the MV Group, founder and managing director. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. Up next, a second-generation leader carrying forward a strong legacy. He has strengthened his company into one of South India's most trusted steel brands. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. K. Prabhu of SK Super TMT Private Limited. And accepting it on his behalf is Shruti Mohan Ram. Right, up next, again, a seasoned leader in the industrial tire sector, 2 decades of expertise. He steered his company into a global player, delivering world-class solid and pneumatic tires. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. V.T. Chandrasekharan of Emerald Tires from Chennai. Thank you so much for coming, sir. Right, we're almost at the end of this round of felicitation. Up next, a driving force in Bengaluru's real estate landscape. He has been instrumental in delivering award-winning RERA certified housing projects. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Dr. S.P. Dayanand of DS Max Properties Private Limited. And finally, a visionary who's known for his contribution to inclusive healthcare. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Dr. Nagendra Swami of Ramaya Memorial Hospital. Dr. Nagendra Swami. And on his behalf, we have Dr. Madan S. Gaikwad, who will be taking the stage. Thank you, Dr. Madan S. Gaikwad. And so, ladies and gentlemen, with that, we've come to the end of this round of felicitation. Huge round of applause for all the visionaries and all the gentlemen on stage. Minister Shri Priyank Kharge, thank you so much again, sir, for spending your precious time with us and being extra patient with us. Thank you so much for the minister. And of course, thank you, Shri Vikram and Mr. Agarwal, for taking the stage. Thank you so much, sir. Please. Huge round of applause for Minister Shri Priyank Kharge. All right, and with that, we need to move on with the proceedings for the evening. We have some really special conversations, interesting conversations lined up. So as we talk about India's growth forward, India's ability to become that all-important Viksit Bharat by the year 2047, it's important to train our eyes not just on the future, but on the present as well. So putting the focus on the present and the future, our first panel discussion for the evening is going to be all about understanding disruption and the opportunities that lie in the disruption going forward. Of course, I'm talking about the all-important AI, or artificial intelligence. This has become a part of our present already. We're not talking about the future anymore, but what we're trying to understand is the future of AI in our Indian businesses. Small-sized businesses, medium-sized businesses, big-sized businesses, all of these businesses will be witnessing AI becoming an integral part of them, of how they operate, how they grow, how they evolve. And that is the reason why the theme for the first panel discussion for the evening is Indian businesses ready for iconic, or rather AI-iconic leap. Are Indian businesses ready for that leap? As we look to leapfrog our way to Viksit Bharat, how ready are we? What do we need to be ready? What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? And how can we improve going forward? Because we can't wish AI away anymore. AI is here to stay, and AI is only going to grow as part of our work lives, as part of our personal lives, as part of our social lives. So it's important that India's mid-sized businesses, MSMEs, understand the true power of AI. Don't look at it just as a disruptor, and find the best case possible to go forward and grow as quickly and as efficiently as they do. And for this next panel, we have some very interesting gentlemen lined up to discuss this. Homegrown businesses, obviously, some of the visionaries of Viksit Bharat who have been felicitated already. They will be the ones taking the stage for this discussion. Let me first invite on stage the moderator for this panel discussion, Indian businesses ready for the AI iconic leap. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. R. Sridharan, Editor International of TV9 Network. And the panelists on this discussion, let me invite on stage one by one. Mr. D.V. Manjunatha, Founder and Managing Director, MV Group. Sir, please. Mr. Dheeraj Jain, Director, Pagaria Foods. Mr. R. Venkatesh Babu, Professor and Chair of the Department of Computational and Data Sciences at the Indian Institute of Science, IISc. Mr. Varun Thamba, Head of AI Asia Pacific, SAP. And with that, it's time now for me to hand over the reins to our very own Shri. Shri, the floor is all yours. Please go ahead. And as Shri begins the session, requesting all those at the door and standing right outside the doors to please walk in and start taking your seats. With all due respect, requesting all of them at the door outside to please come walk inside and start taking your seats so that we can begin this panel discussion at the earliest. We're sticking to time for tonight, as you can see. No further ado, no delays. We're smack on time. So, Shri, all yours.
Thank you, Krishna, for that lovely introduction to all my wonderful panelists today, and also to the theme. So, I think the perceptive people in the audience would have noted that there was no question mark in the title of the session today. We're not asking if Indian businesses are ready for the AI iconic kind of leap, because I think there is enough evidence all around that India as a country and the Indian ecosystem is more than ready to make that leap. Now, government recently announced 1 lakh crore investment in RDI, which is Research, Development, Innovation in the AI space. We have a Bharat Gen initiative happening, which will build our own India-specific LLM. Google just announced an AI stack investment of 15,000 crore, which Google is going to make in not just data center, but also the power system that you need to power these data systems. And then we have public compute, which is being provided by the government. So I think a lot of factors are coming together to help India make this leap. So, and yet, ladies and gentlemen, I think the world has an AI problem. What do I mean by that? If you look at surveys that come out from different parts of the world, whether it's the US, whether it's from Europe, or whether it's from India, report after report will tell you that there are a lot of companies which are experimenting with AI. They are getting into AI. They are doing some pilots. But I think the biggest challenge almost all of them are facing is in terms of scaling these at an enterprise level. So, we have an expert who's in the business of selling AI to customers and has a bird's eye view of what's really happening. So let me start with Varun of SAP and ask him two parts of the question. Why is it that companies are struggling to scale their AI projects? And number two, do you actually see that changing now?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question, and indeed a privilege to share the stage with all the audience. With all the panelists in front of the esteemed audience. A great question, and something that I also get asked whenever we meet CIOs or boardrooms. The first question that get asked is, how can we ensure that the AI that we start with doesn't fail, right? But there is also a parallel saying that says, try until you succeed, right? But if you see, when we looked at last year, and in a forum like this, people would always used to boast about how many AI experiments they are doing. Hey Varun, I have 30 going on, I have 40 going on, I have 30 in finance, 40 in supply chain. Like, okay, you have so many. And today if you ask them what happened, they would say 1 made it to production, 2 made it to production, 3 made it to production. And invariably when you ask them, why did it make it to production? It would be 2 factors. 1, it was either impacting the top line or the bottom line of the company. And 2, there was no massive change management involved in infusing AI into the core business process. So if you ask me as SAP, I think this is also fundamental to the way we do things, because already a system like SAP is a change for MSME, right? People have to do things on the system, everything needs to be logged and stuff like that. So we see AI as an enabler and say, how can we minimize the change management? In the older world of SAP, I don't know how many of you know, you had to remember T codes, right? You had to do T codes and numbers to post goods, take out the goods, submit it to a work order and stuff like that. All of that now can be conversational with AI. So why have we done that? Is to actually reduce the change that somebody has to go through. Now you talk to an AI agent just like you would talk to a friend and know how to go through the process on the system, right? 1, reduce the change management, and 2, there could always be some fancy AI use cases that we do at the periphery. Use a quantum model to identify which is the best way to stack stuff on a ship and stuff like that. But that's only relevant if it's part of your business process. You have, let's say, a process called an order to cash. Getting the order, delivering the goods, getting the money. So unless that core sort of AI innovation, whether you're using quantum research, whether you're using DeepSeek, or whether you're using any other AI model, doesn't matter. As long as that AI model sits as part of the business process and people can inherently use it and there's no change management involved, I have seen a massive impact of that kind of AI delivering value.
Right, we'll come back to that, like in terms of how do you integrate that into the workflow. But let me now turn to Mr. Manjunath, because Mr. Manjunath, you are in an industry, first of all, I think hats off to you. You have the courage to be in an industry which is completely dominated by China. It's, I think, not just the 800-pound gorilla, but the 1,000-pound gorilla, if there's a phrase like that, because they pretty much own the entire, supply chain of, solar cells, modules, and everything. But you have managed to make a mark for yourself in this industry, despite China's scale, China's pricing. You have come up with products which are designed for the Indian weather conditions with the same or better efficiency, thermal efficiency that China is delivering. So walk us through, how has MV Solar used technology so far, and what is the scope that you see for a cutting edge technology like AI going forward to make you globally even more competitive?
Thank you, Sridhar. So, as you already mentioned that 3 decades back, I started the manufacturing of solar, right? So, where the solar is not been known in India also, or especially India doesn't know what is the solar. Solar is known only as some street lights or some signal lights. Nobody knows it is one more alternative energy source of this one. Whereas even in China, if you see, they started in 2012 onwards, whereas we started in 1992, and solar photovoltaic models and cells has been started in 2007. So what I continue to be adopt is the reliability, capabilities, and the trustworthy to the people of the new technologies what we bring. We are I want to proudly say that we are the first company who introduced the automatic tower stringers in India in 2007 when I talk. And even AI tools, whatever we are using in all complete our manufacturing, we are introducing for the AI tools for the especially checking the inspection, the EL images, or even the SAP what we use this is one. So we always try to be new thing and new technology. Like example, one of the new recently what I adopted is the top 10 technology, correct, which anybody else in India is still gone with the lower technology one, but we thought further ahead and went to the top 10 technology. So this always MB is wanted to adopt to a technology. And also core manufacturing. We wanted to be concentrate on the manufacturing and reliability, and with all latest technologies and the manufacturing process with AI, which we wanted to use, and we'll continue to do that. That is how we could able to see this. Thank you.
So that is the secret to your competitiveness. Dheeraj, I'll come to you about that, but let me first go to Professor Venkatesha Babu, because I think as a researcher, as a scientist, as an academician, you have a point of view on what sort of AI India really needs. Because in terms of the AI adoption, one very positive thing for India is that we are probably among the highest, we rank among the highest countries in terms of AI adoption, right? But the question remains that we don't have the capital power of a US or China. We don't have the compute power of a US or China. We don't have the energy that this AI monster is going to need to, do what it does. So what sort of an AI model do you think Indian enterprises, especially the ones that are here today, medium size, which are probably AI native, they don't have any prior technology, deep tech, which is playing into them. What sort of AI play should they be looking at?
Yeah, before getting into this AI thing, I just wanted to clarify what is artificial intelligence. To put it crudely, we should say this as a data-driven approach. That will be a very easy way to say. So everything is based on the amount of data that you feed and then build the model. So based on that, whatever we see today, that is what is happening now. Our major problem is, especially for the past 12 years, the AI revolution has happened from 2012 to today where we are standing. Things happened very, very rapidly. I was happy that I was a faculty at Indian Institute of Science witnessing all those things as it happens over time. But unfortunately, we missed the bus, that's what I should say, because this data-driven approach, the fuel for these models is data. Do we have sufficient amount of data, first of all, to build the model? Without that, the model itself is nothing. So that is the first thing which we lost, because you can take Google, all our data. We use Google, we use Facebook, we use OpenAI's ChatGPT, all those things. So all our data just goes to those companies, and they are kind of data rich now, right? So we supplied almost significant amount of data to foreign companies. Whereas if we take Indian companies, hardly we had any such system that collects data, right? We never used Gmail kind of a thing, we never used a WhatsApp kind of thing, Facebook, all those things, whatever we use, they don't belong to our country. So now we are sitting in a place, suddenly realize, oh, we don't have data, we don't have fuel. Then what is about building a model without fuel? There is nothing we can build without the data. That's what we missed actually the opportunity. Whereas China, they blocked the Google, all possible things. They created their infrastructure from bottom up. So all their data belongs to them. Others cannot enter this part. So they could build this deep sea kind of things. They are fiercely competing with all US top models. It's a competition that is going, and every day there is some new model, whatever is released from Google or Facebook.
Right.
There will be another model that is coming from China. This competition is only between them. All others are kind of looking, observing thing what is happening. Right?
So given these constraints, obviously we're going to focus on applications,
Yes.
Built on top of,
Correct.
let's say, a DeepSeek or a Llama or let's say an OpenAI, whatever. So how should the mid-sized companies approach the AI conundrum?
Exactly, yeah. So now we are all kind of appreciating these huge models. It can do wonders. Everything it can do, right? Anything you ask, they are ready to answer. But they are very huge model. It takes a huge amount of data as well as compute power to build such a model. That is not really easy sitting here and doing it. Because it should have come over so many years. We should have built the infrastructure. We should have built data. What we can do now is we have reasonable amount of data. All business people are here. I am the admin out sitting here. All of you have some amount of data from coming out of your business. What we can do is we can carve out the portion. That is, we don't want a huge model which takes enormous amount of power, unnecessary, too much of parameters, memory, all those things. Can we build tiny models, simpler ones, which can be portable? Probably it can be embedded device itself. You can. So these tiny models are coming up now. All this, your data is not so much. It is very specific and targeted. You can build a very tiny model that is applicable to your own application, where it can be kind of answer everything that within that domain.
Great.
Right? So this is what will be the simpler and most effective solution that you can adapt now.
Great. So now, Dheeraj, I know you're in the foods industry, so one would imagine it's not like a very complex business like what Mr. Manjunath does in terms of, high technology involved in making those silicon cells and modules, solar cells and modules. But how are you approaching technology, deep tech, especially AI, in your business?
First of all, thank you for having me in the panel. See, for us, technology is not just an option, it's our growth engine. Coming to AI, as a medium-sized company, in factories, we've started buying robots, AI-enabled robots. In sales, we have tool with each and every sales force which goes on the field, almost about 600 odd people, having AI-enabled app, informing them what was the previous purchase of that particular outlet, what is that, the surrounding outlets are buying, pushing them saying, these are the products you need to push to these outlets. Also, the seasonal aspects. Also, most important, since we cater all the channels, right from the general trade to the modern trade to the e-commerce to the quick commerce today, helping us give the predictive, forecast, which has become very, very, very important. And as sir said, we also, put in all these historical datas, into the AI, and getting lot of information, lot of data points with which we build the strategies for going forward. It has actually helped us in scaling our business.
Right, excellent. So I'll come to you, Varun, but let me go to Mr. Manjunath. So I think what you're solving is a very important problem for India, which is that of renewable energy and something that's relatively cheap and reduces our dependence on fossil fuel, especially since we are a country that depends on imports. So from your perspective, is there a competitive edge India can gain from using high technology? How important will that be to accelerate our growth towards this whole vision of a Viksit Bharat?
See, on that angle, India is definitely, we have a lot of talent. So we have the talent and also technology. Only the technology, we have less utilization as of today. But if you combine the manufacturing skill and the technology, we definitely going to be, I can say, the better off or more than the, so maybe I can say that China has took about 20 years to reach this level, but initially they are the copier, everybody knows that, and now they are becoming innovator. Whereas for Indian skill and the Indian talent what we are having, we need next 5 to 6 years to reach that level.
Right. But technology will play an important role, right? I mean,
Definitely.
without technology, it's not going to happen.
No. If you see, like example, any industry or any entrepreneur or any small business people, at least some or other technology they are adopting.
Right.
So if you see, we are the India is the fastest technology adoption. Either you call it as UPI,
Right.
either you call it as Aadhaar or anything, right? We are the front runners of that one. So we love to any change. Adaptability by Indians is more. It is in the blood. I think I can
You're
say
absolutely
that.
right. Data also bears out what you
and
say.
we are that, but okay, our focus is not too much on the manufacturing, not on mainly on the technology and service. Of late, it is moving to the manufacturing, and you can see that growth.
Excellent. So, Varun, I think what we are hearing is that it's now up to companies like SAP to actually democratize access to AI and also make it economical for companies to adopt. So, I think you have a very important role to play in this. So, tell us, how is SAP going to bundle, let's say, AI agents or AI solutions and tools into your existing offerings?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. And I think this is a responsibility that we take pride in, but also an immense amount of seriousness that we approach it with. Because today, globally, 83% of world's transactions touches an SAP system. And if we are not, making processes intelligent, we are actually leaving opportunity on the table, and we're not doing justification by users of SAP. Now, I would personally believe that technology is a great leveler, especially AI, right? You imagine back in the day when you had to be in the showbiz, you go to Mumbai, stand in front of the studios in Bandra or whatever, and try to get noticed. But today, the lady, in Kumbh Mela, I don't know if you noticed, there was this lady who had a very infectious smile.
That's right.
And she went viral on Instagram, and she suddenly became, she was getting offers, people went to her village and stuff like that. With the advent of technology that's as easy to actually go viral, it's very similar also in business, right? Earlier, we had to build the data, we had to, I have been in ML more than 10 years, building this, looking at identifying the best data, cleaning the data, writing the right model, then deploying the model, right? It used to be a long process. Now with generative AI, for example, what we are doing is, because there is such a strong baseline, and everybody's data which is abstracted is available in the SAP backend, we are using that data to ensure that the best forecasting model of who is going to buy when, or when should I buy which raw material from whom and at what rate, or when should I dispatch something given the Google maps which will go reach on time. All of these are natively infused into core SAP business processes, so that when you are looking at the process, you don't have to then think, okay, how do I make it more intelligent? As a vendor, we have taken it upon us to ensure that the process is natively intelligent, but at the same time, it is very open. If you want to bring in something very native that you want to build in, very native that you want to train for yourself, we have some small models which are pre-trained on some data. You can train it, or you can use any other model and bring it out there. But I think, long story short, I see AI as the technology leveler of what Instagram Reels and TikTok did to content creators to level the platform. I think for MSMEs, AI is ultimately this big leveler.
True.
And we want to make that revolution real as SAP.
Excellent. More power to you then, Varun. Professor Babu, I think, like you said, there is a realization in India that probably we will not be able to play the LLM game like US and China are playing. Maybe there is an opportunity for India to develop its own, maybe SLM specific, let's say industry specific SLMs. So now the question arises, what are the sectors we should prioritize from a GDP multiplier point of view? Like, where will the money invested will fetch us the most bang, for the buck, as they say? Should it be agriculture, healthcare, education, or strategic industries like defense? Where do you think this AI investment should go?
Yeah, this sounds like a very difficult question itself. Because all the landscapes are changing very rapidly now. I can't even imagine how the education system is going to be after 10 years. And as he mentioned, it's a great leveler, this, all the AI revolution. So in your fingertip, you have the entire encyclopedia or whatever, the entire teachers to professors, everybody is available in your fingertip. Either it be a classroom fifth standard question, or is it a PhD level question, everything is answerable now by the True, right?
Yeah.
So most of you might have used Gemini, ChatGPT, all those things.
Correct.
They are reaching at that level. In next few years, I don't know whether even researchers are needed to do research there. That is a situation that is getting created now. So now this is a very good thing for India, because it's very hard to get very good teachers. All of you realize, right? Even you can remember how many good teachers that you faced from your elementary school till the college. Very few you can count. But now with this help of this kind of a technology, everybody can learn whatever they want to learn. All you need is time and passion. So that is going to level the entire globe to come to some level, right? So as long as you have the bandwidth, as long as you have the connection, then you can do what you want to do. It has given the free hand to everyone. You can pursue your passion without going to a specific place, sitting at your home, sitting at your own chair, you can do so many things. Similarly, the other aspect of this is robotics, because whatever we do in the soft skills, when you power this through a mechanized agent, then it becomes a robot. So that is going to take some more time, because now only we realized a reasonable robo which can make a coffee for us. Okay, that too you will see why it is struggling to make such a coffee, because its mechanics is not easy to bring to action. So that is going to take some more time. I keep telling this wherever I give a talk. I'm not sure about the computer science graduates in the next 5 to 6 years, whether they will be having any job at all. Programming is not at all there. It's taken over by AI. I recommend only plumbing, carpentry, whatever the hand skills, that will take some more time.
That's right.
Because the hands are so, what we use day to day, you will understand the flexibility and power of this hand when you work with the robotics. To pick up a glass, how much struggle you had to do. So much programming, all those things. You have to apply the right amount of pressure for depending upon the material. It's not at all easy. That is going to take some more time. Maybe 10, 20 years probably.
Not if it's up to Elon Musk and his Optimus army.
Maybe, we don't know, because rapidly things are evolving. So.
True, right. Mr. Manjunath, I'm going to come back to you, because you are in an industry which is high-tech, without doubt. And there's constant innovation happening in that industry. So how do you, as an industry leader, ensure that your own R&D is always cutting edge enough to prevent any kind of disruption in the game? For example, there's certain kind of technology, like we know that the new technology that you're now using, right? What is to say that tomorrow something new from a smaller player won't come which makes this technology less efficient? So how do you guard against that?
So, okay, in India, so the research on this renewable energy or on the solar renovation is not as much as to the other sides of the world, especially Germany and Europe, especially Europe and the US is doing extremely well, and now it is China is also doing much. But of late, yes, there is a lot of institutes and the engineers started off doing that one. But as a manufacturer and as the business entrepreneur, what I do is I always keep what is happening in the world and see that how the technology is moving and which level the technology is available, when I need to be adopted in a timely manner, so that I should be always in the front runner of the technology adoption to give to my product to my customers.
Okay. Dheeraj, very quickly to you, because I have just another 2-3 minutes to wrap up this conversation. I'll let Varun have the last word, because I want to hold him to what he can do for the SMEs. So Varun, I'll come back to you. But Dheeraj, from your point of view, you know, a typical medium-sized or a small company in India is like always resource constrained. We are constantly fighting for capital, talent, you know, the right way to market, to access global markets. But do you think technology could be a solution that actually helps you mitigate or address many of these challenges that companies, small companies and medium-sized companies face on a day-to-day basis? Do you think technology has a very important role that you can play in that sense?
Yes, I feel definitely yes. You know, ours is a food industry, right? Giving customer, you know, we've always been, you know, giving quality products to the consumer. That's where our brand quality is, you know, creating that trust. Today we export to over 42 countries, right? And giving that world-class products, you know, is possible only with technology. You know, whether we use, you know, sophisticated machinery or have state-of-art facility or maintain those standards, maybe which, you know, today we export over 500 containers to US alone, you know, last year. You know, having that US FDA, you know, involves a lot of technology. You know, maintaining hygiene at the factory, you know, running a lot of, you know, testings out in the lab, again involves technology. So again, as I said, it's our growth engine. You know, technology is our growth engine, and this will certainly help us in scaling up business in coming years.
Excellent. So Varun, I'll let you have the last word, but you have to tell me 4 or 5 areas where there is a compelling ROI case, first of all, and which also then marries with the strategic imperative when you are a small or medium-sized company. So what are those 4 or 5 areas that I should prioritize from a technology deployment point of view?
Good question, and I would actually put it into a process that typically every MSME here would look at. And if I take 4, I would say it is your order to cash process, sales, right? That is key. How can I make my sales process more intelligent? Whom do I sell to? When to sell? How much margin? How much to put to how much to get? So order to cash as a process. The second process I would say is procure to pay, which is basically buying raw material. Like if I'm buying rubber, should I look at the Malaysia, you know, rubber season, or should I buy from somewhere synthetic rubber from China? So procure to pay actually can have a lot of impact on your bottom line. So if you have an agent sitting there constantly looking at the crude prices, constantly with rubber prices, helping you buy and save money there, immense potential. So that's the second one, procure to pay. The third one I would say is design to operate, which is primarily your manufacturing. How can you have predictive quality, predictive maintenance on the shop floor, you know, smart cameras which can tell you when. We did a case where if somebody is taking out their you know, headgear or a hand thing for more than 5 seconds, it beeps, because then it's an FDA violation, right? So how do you ensure that your design to operate process is more autonomous, right? An autonomous headless process, so to say. That should be the third one, design to operate. And the final one I would say is, of course, people, right? Which is recruit to retire. Right? In today's world, people think retire is a big term. Everybody, including me, thinks, okay, will I really retire till 60? Will I have a job, right? But the reality is, people experience can be enhanced a lot with AI. If I have to ask, hey, I'm buying a spectacle, is it eligible for a reimbursement? When do I get a business class according to company policy? Are simple things, but when we are able to enhance the employee experience, freeing up their time from these kind of mundane tasks, it actually massively boosts their motivation, right? When they see AI working for them, they then see AI that they can make work across. So that will be the 4. So order to cash, right? Procure to pay, design to operate, hire to retire. And by the way, that's how we also at SAP look at our software to cover the processes for an MSME.
Excellent. That was a very good piece of advice. Thank you for that, Varun. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're completely out of time. I want to thank each one of my panelists for their excellent views and life stories, which they are actually talking from experience and what they're doing in their own company. So a big round of applause for all the panelists, please. Krishna, back to you.
Thank you so much, Shri, for that. And thank you to all the panelists who have taken time out to be. There's another round of applause for all the panelists who took time out and shared some important thoughts that could we can all, chew over after this event is long over. Quickly for a photo opportunity before we move on to the next interesting conversation for the evening. We have another couple of very special gentlemen lined up, but first up a good photo opportunity. All right. Moving on. Let's get set for the next interesting fireside chat, if you may. We're calling this the C-suite conversation. And this conversation is going to be themed on bricks and bytes pave way for a Viksit Bharat. Interesting because this country is going to need building on all platforms, on the real physical platform and on all the digital platforms as well. That's why, when it comes to building that Viksit Bharat, you're going to need bytes and bricks. And for this next panel too, our moderator is going to be none other than our very own editor international of TV9 Network, Mr. R. Sridharan. Shri, requesting you to please take the stage again. And there are going to be two special gentlemen in conversation with Shri for this session. Let me first invite on stage Mr. Pavan Guntupalli, co-founder of Rapido. Ladies and gentlemen, huge round of applause for Mr. Pavan Guntupalli. And the other panelist on this conversation is the Chairman and Managing Director of SSS Group, Mr. Satish Machani.
Thank you, Krishna. Thank you. As you notice, it's a new me. I just taken off my tie. So don't feel bored about it that I'm back on the stage. So I want to thank both Pavan and Satish for being here this evening, because both of them represent two very interesting aspects of India's Make in India story. One gentleman is as hardcore manufacturing as you can get, which is he's the leading largest supplier of springs in India. Now he's got into, as Krishna mentioned, defense, EVs, a whole range of new tech. So it's a whole spectrum that he's straddling. And Pavan, who's the co-founder of Rapido, represents as new tech as you can actually find. And also a quick congratulations to Team Rapido, because I believe with your last round of funding, you're now a unicorn. Fantastic. Brilliant. So congratulations. So, Satish, I'm going to start with you. And please hold the mic close to your mouth when you speak, because I think when we move, the audio goes. Your company is actually not new. You've been around for a very long time. Your father started the company, and then you obviously transformed it into a very different company that it is today. You've been on a very long Make in India journey. How has the government's policy or the environment, the overall economic environment, helped you make the push into defense manufacturing, which is totally high-tech?
So thank you, Sridhar, first of all. Thanks for having me. I'm really honored to be here. I was not even sure whether I was worthy of speaking at this forum, but Sridhar pursued me continuously over the last 1 week. I just want to correct you, Sridhar. My father did not start this. My grandfather started this.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
we are a third-generation company. From the question being that how has government policies helped India shape
And
its
the overall
manufacturing?
environment in India's story, yeah.
So, like I said, from time to time, over the last 7 decades that India has been free, various governments, despite the political inclinations, have worked towards the progress of India. So, I cannot name a specific a policy per se, but liberalization was one of the biggest initiatives that we took that happened way back in 90s. And after that, I think the growth of India has been unstoppable to a large extent. Now, coming to your specific question of defense and why we got into that space, personally, from my side, I've always analyzed businesses and the ventures that I have conceived from geopolitical point of view. I think many people here have also understood that the world is undergoing massive changes right now. The global order has changed. I think economics without security is not an option anymore. Many countries, former times, take countries like Japan and Korea, they all grew under the security blanket of one hegemon. That is completely rewritten today. So economics and security will be tied. This is something that I saw as a trend, and I've always been interested in the defense space. I am not a tech guy per se. I'm a hardcore metallurgist. I studied in Russia, metallurgy. So I come from that background. So I was interested in the defense space, and like you said, there was a policy change where private sector was allowed to play in this field way back in, I think, 2015, I think, when the country came up with a policy where they allowed the private sector. I was one of the first few guys to apply for these licenses that takes. I identified which are the possible areas that I could enter. So I selected small arms, ammunition, and now there are a couple of more other fields that I've involved. And it's been an evolution. Even when the government makes policies, it's like a huge machine that needs to be, but now I'm happy to say that the momentum has taken over, and here we are.
Lots of kudos to you for having the courage to do it. Now, Pawan, coming to you, you have got into a totally other end of the spectrum, which is high tech, deep tech in some sense. You started by picking up a very big, hairy problem that all of us in Bangalore deal with, which is that of mobility and transport, and you solved it beautifully. I really want to thank Rapido for having decongested the city as much as possible. I think you've done a great job of that, and I very seriously mean that. And you also got into a space where there were established large players already there. I mean, there was Uber, there was like Ola. I remember the Uber global CEO saying that if there's any one competition in Bangalore right now, it's like, Rapido for us. So tell us, how did you use technology to become that sort of a company which is solving a very complex problem and doing it so successfully?
So, first of all, thanks for having me here. I'm actually humbled by the amount of experience in the room, and it's actually a privilege for me to talk in front of all of this esteemed audience. Coming to the problem statement that we are solving, that especially Rapido is solving, from the outlook, it looks like we are solving a mobility problem. But if you guys, if every one of us step back and see, Rapido is actually solving a more core Indian problem. It is solving the problem of jobs. It is solving the problem of filling infrastructure gaps. And I am talking in the remotest parts of the country. It is much easier to build a mobility platform. What do? You just hire 10, 20 vehicles, get some people to run for you, and maybe you have a mobility, you build an app, the mobility platform is there. But Rapido started with this intent of enabling and giving an opportunity to everybody who has a bike and an intent to earn money. India is the largest manufacturer, largest home, largest exporter of two-wheelers in the entire world. We said, let's use this infrastructure to build a solution that can extend to not just the top 7-10 cities of the country, not just the Bangalore's and Delhi's of the country, but also the Siliguris, the Kharagpurs, the Dharwads of the country as well. And we kept focusing on how do we do that. We leveraged technology. So we used this existing infrastructure and we infused, or maybe we can say supercharged it with this power of technology to create every single person with that bike into a micro entrepreneur. And that's our journey.
Fantastic. You created so much of employment as well, which is what you're also talking about.
If I can, just in terms of why I say Rapido is solving one of core fundamental needs. As of today, Rapido has 30 lakh active people deriving income on a monthly basis. Just to give you a scale of what it means, take a city like Indore or a Coimbatore and imagine everybody in that city earning livelihoods from one platform. Or as simple as take Bangalore, 1 in every 3 people, if they are earning livelihood just from a single platform, I think that is where Rapido is.
Congratulations, amazing, yeah. Satish, I want to ask you something which actually, is true of large companies also in India. One of the complaints, we as media also, we have against large companies that we don't invest enough in original R&D. But when I look at you, although it's a fairly large group, 1,200 crore top line, I guess, as a total. But it's not like, you're in the top tier in that sense. You're not tier 1 in that sense. But you have had the courage to invest a significant amount of money in R&D, especially in the defense sector. So one of the key challenges associated with that is how do you make that rupee go a long way? So can you walk us through how you thought through the whole R&D piece, especially in a sector like defense? How did you approach it? What are the things you said, I won't do? And what are the things you said, I will do when it comes to R&D? It's a very difficult choice, but please walk us through that.
Yeah, so this is a little, it may take a little time, Sridhar.
Please take the time.
So you're absolutely right. I think the emphasis on make in India should change to innovate in India. Okay,
absolutely.
And I'm a classic case where my intention also initially was to make in India, which is what when the sector opened up, especially in the small arms, everybody looked for a foreign partner, right? I also did the same thing. I looked at a foreign partner. In fact, I signed a potential JV with them or a technology transfer. But very quickly I realized the foreign partner wants to control everything. He just wants you to be a screwdriver wala, where they send everything from there, control the pricing, control the supply, and they'll just want you to, fix the thing and sell. And they very clearly make India is your market. I will not be allowing you to sell anywhere else. So this happened way back in 16 or 17. And after realizing this, I said, this is not the way to go.
You bought out your partners.
Was I gave my exit to my foreign partner way back in 2006, but that was focused only on the automotive space, nothing to do with the defense space. Right. So in 16, I said, this is not the way to go. Let's start from scratch. Let's build the guns from scratch. It took a lot of team building for me to put the team together with engineering knowledge, of course, ballistic engineering, thermodynamics, all these technologies. To identify the team itself took me about a couple of years. I put them, gave the resources. Again, in India, it's all about smart investment, frugal investment, not just throwing money at the base.
Very important point. Yeah.
And expecting returns with small investments. That's there in our culture as Indians. We always want bang for the buck. For every rupee that you spend, you want the value for it. So it's been a long journey. I'll tell you an interesting story as well on this. We built the first weapon, which was a sniper rifle. I said, let's build a Ferrari car. Forget the Maruti 800, I'll build the Ferrari car. Because sniper rifles is equivalent of a Ferrari car in terms of the kind of engineering that is required. On hindsight, I think it was a good decision, though after about 2 years of failures, nothing came out. We would design everything. We would have to hire a shooting range, which is not easy to get in Indian conditions. Nothing would work. Then we'd go back to the drawing board. We assume what are the changes that we do. Again, seek for an appointment with the range. Again, nothing would work. I went through this journey for almost 2 years. And at one stage, I said, hell with it. I will build my own range. I went to Delhi, got all the requisite permissions. Again, Karnataka government, I went for all the permissions. So I have a shooting range in the heart of city, underground.
Fantastic.
That doesn't
big round of
exist
applause,
anywhere.
ladies and gentlemen, for him, yeah.
So it was an evolution that way. And it took us 3.5 years to build the first weapon. But now I tell you, and I think there are guys here who are talking about AI and all that. From design to a product, I can do it in 3 months. So that is something that it's been an evolution, but nothing but failures and failures and failures for 7 years.
And persistence.
Of course, without persistence, nothing happens. Persistence and endurance.
That's right, yeah. Pawan, let me switch to you now. when we order a ride on Rapido, it's a very simple thing for me. I, punch a few buttons and, a rider magically appears or a car magically appears. But there are a lot of technology choices, complexity that you manage. So what is the technology orchestra that goes behind the app? Just walk us through that.
So before I talk about the product in itself, I want to highlight one of the pillars of our product. So Rapido was the first company to introduce this concept of bike taxi to India, right? Back in 2015, which is 10 years ago, even before Rapido product was built, Rapido's safety for the product was first designed. Rapido is the first company that has come up with a concept of rideshare insurance, which is whenever you are using any of Rapido's app to get on a ride, your rides are insured mandatorily, and the cost is borne by the company. So safety is one of the key pillars that has been playing a crucial role in the category building, because we know that when you are building a category and if anything happens, then the entire category can go back ages. In our mind, it was like this. It took 75 years after independence for a woman to sit on a stranger's bike in a tier 2 town in a dim lit street to have the assurance that she can reach her destination safely. If anything else happens, God knows how much time it will take. So the first set of product developments or tech that we start leveraging was majorly for our safety. So we currently have a sort of 8-step safety process, 3 during pre-onboarding, which is we start with document verification, background verification, virtual training, and then once they are onboarded, we have something called hand-holding, where we right from the way a captain, we call our drivers as captains, right from the way our captain drives to the way he takes a steep turn, we literally track everything. And once we get the right feedback, then only he is let out into the rest of the market.
So this goes into building the score and the driver behavior, everything, yeah.
Right? And our thing just doesn't, our focus on safety just doesn't stop there. We realize that in this forever distracted world, we need to go one step beyond than the user himself concerns about his own safety. So we put in proactive ride alerts. If a person is not taking the route that he is expected to take, we come as an interrupting feed between their Instagram feed saying, hey, we observed this, is everything okay? We have proactive safety check-ins. We have 24/7 emergency centers. We have tracking of this, right? So, and I'm proud to say that this startup from Bangalore is not just setting these standards nationally, but these are some of the safety standards that are best in the world globally. Yeah, so we keep leveraging technology like this.
Fantastic, great. Satish, if I look at defense as an industry, I think the global lobbies that operate in defense are probably the strongest. There are billions of dollars that, go into maintaining monopolies of companies, and they don't want to cede any ground at all to any new player. So from your perspective, I think cracking the technology, actually building something in India might actually be the easier part. Now comes the hard part of selling it to, the user, which includes our Indian, defense forces, and hopefully, countries abroad as well. How are you going to approach this piece of making this Atmanirbharta translate into orders from, let's say, the defense forces?
That's again a very interesting question, Sridhar. You're right. You can have the best metallurgy, you can have the best possible weapon even, but selling is a completely different ballgame altogether. First of all, just getting the licenses. I had 14 interviews from Ministry of Home Affairs,
Amazing.
from Bureau of Intelligence, just to make sure that I'm not an anti-social element, right? That's first hurdle. The second hurdle is when the policy came out, nobody knew how to implement the policy. So I literally used to be in Delhi for 6 months, moving paper from table to table, because, to be fair to the government, once you make a policy to actually get executing, I mean, defense is a mountain. It's just not small. But the momentum certainly has picked up, and everybody has gotten more and more efficient over the years. So yes, it's not an easy thing to crack, and in fact, that remains one of the biggest barriers today in this, in this industry. So, and you talked about foreign lobbies. Yeah, sure enough. I mean, some of the we call it the technical specs, no, in simple terms, were written in such a way that only few companies can participate. Okay, so I remember to break I'll name it, doesn't matter. An Israeli company had a monopoly over a certain supply for over 20 years in our country. It took me a year and a half and probably about 300 letters to various sections to break the code. Now I'm the only guy in India because it's fully made in India now. And I'm supplying at 1/5 the cost. I did not know I was supplying at 1/5 the cost, but that's the kind of money that we were able to save for us all as taxpayers, I guess.
Fantastic. So I think there's a key lesson as an entrepreneur. I think persistence is probably the biggest quality you'll need as an entrepreneur. You have to stay in the game. And
unless you fail, you will not succeed. That's an absolute truth. You will fail, you will fail, you will fail. Learn from it, get up and move on.
Correct. Thank you. And thanks for the keyword, because that was actually going to be my next question to Pawan. If you look at the aggregation space, especially for cab aggregation and bike aggregation, we've had many Indian startups which couldn't do well and survive and scale. But you have done a very good job, so much so that your foreign rival now is complimenting you on what you built. So what is the secret sauce that has gone into Rapido's success? Can you break it down into components which maybe some of the entrepreneurs here can take home with them today in terms of their own scalability and success?
So one of the core pillars of Rapido's journey, not as a product, but as a journey, is creating impact. Like I was earlier mentioning, it's much easier to build a mobility platform, but we said we wanted to give this opportunity to a woman who's dropping her kid and has a couple of hours to earn money and a couple of hours free time, and she wants to earn money so that she can be a bit more financially independent. And I'm not talking in the Bangalores and Delhis again. I'm talking in Alwals, in Jorhats of the country. We said we wanted our product to be able to do that. It's not about how can the people, the drivers, we call our drivers as captains, the captains adopt our product. We have always thought about how can our product fit in their life. And that is something we have kept focusing time and again. If you see, as of today, one of the reasons Rapido is India's largest gig economy job creator, creating around 30 lakh jobs every month, right? It is because we keep captain at the center, and we believe that we are in a service industry. Who's offering that service? It is via the captain, the customer is getting that service. Our captain is offering that service. Our job as the technology platform is to empower this captain. So that is why now recently when we entered autos and cabs, we did away with the old age traditional commission model. It is not that, hey, you work for me and all. It is, we said, take our technology, use however you like it, how much ever you like it, whenever you like it, and you get to keep 100% of the earnings. And that instantly turned that individual into literally an entrepreneur who is empowered with technology, and it is his own business. He wants to give the best service to the customer because right now it is his own business. There is nobody taking a share. There is only a company like Rapido that is selling this software at a very nominal cost. So sometimes we step back and see ourselves. There are a lot of SaaS companies in this country. Some of them operate out of India, but operate for global markets. We would like to say Rapido is one of the largest SaaS companies built in India for India.
Fantastic, yeah. And hence the model of no commission, but a small fee, that's all, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great. Satish, in the previous panel, we heard Professor Venkatesh Babu talk about how AI is actually going to drive innovation, and scarily that you may not even need, researchers or scientists because it's becoming so powerful. In your industry, defense sector, what role do you see AI or AI-related tools playing in terms of technology innovation?
Again, it's not a nice thing, but unfortunately, as you were all saying, there's too many conflicts in this world. Especially in the last, I think, 8 or 10 years, the world has become fairly unstable because everywhere there is some conflict that's emerging. It's not a nice thing, but as long as humans are there, conflicts have always been there. And as long, many times when I wanted to get into this industry, people said it's a sin industry. Why do you want to get into it, right? But it's the reality. We need law enforcement. We need our military to protect our borders and all so on and so forth. So the reason why I mentioned all the conflicts that's happening in the world, you can see things have changed dramatically. It's just not boots on the ground. In fact, if you see the conflict in the Middle East, the kind of...
Or even Russia.
Come again?
Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid countries' names, but
okay.
Because people have a lot of allegiance and alliances. But nevertheless, these conflicts have shown that the warfare has dramatically changed.
True.
You don't find soldiers being put on the ground anymore, because a human life is valued a lot more than it used to, You take a typical German army in World War II, they had 100 million soldiers. It was literally, 10 million soldiers. Yeah. Today they have hardly in thousands because the warfare has changed. I mean drones. We have intelligent trackers. There's so many changes that have happened, and it will continue to change. From our perspective, our company, we call ourselves as a hard kill. So instead of a soldier carrying the gun, it could be a drone carrying the gun. And that's why we come up with the third version of our venture into defense, which is, we call it the CDN. We call it the Indian name Varaha. That's what we call it. It's basically a system that will sense drones coming in, which is what in conflicts do. They swarm the country with 3,000, 4,000 of cheap drones, costing $50, $100, just to confuse the whole system. So this is the evolution that's happening. And in between, they'll send something that's worthy. By the time the system figures out what to do with the 3,000, 4,000 drone swarm that is coming in, it gets confused. And many of them come in. Some of them could be lethal. So we've come up with a system. After understanding this, we went back. I have almost 8 astrophysicists working for me now, who are using latest technology, using AI to analyze what comes in, using simple things like acoustics, something visual sensing, and crunching the data and quickly identify what is coming at me. And then, most importantly, deploy horses for courses, meaning if it's a cheap thing that's coming in, shoot it with equally cheap stuff. If something that's credible coming, I said, this is not my domain, but quickly reflect to something of a magnitude that the defense people can handle. So this is a system that we come up, and everything is based on AI. And we also have hard kill, where our weapons are mounted on drones, can fly to the target, which is coming, let's say, 4 or 5 kilometers in advance, track it and hunt it down. AI is how it is. There was a lot of movies that we've seen in the 90s and in early 2000s. It's all going to happen. I see it happening, and evolution will continue to take place, and AI will have a massive role to play, even in defense.
Right. I'll come to you, Pawan, but just to press on that point, you chose acoustics as one of the identifiers because now drones also evade radars, the conventional radars, right? So talk a little bit about how that model is built in terms of how do you identify, objects based on just the acoustics of it.
Sridhar, nowadays drones are this big. Now, how do you expect a radar to pick up something this big? You can understand there's always evolution that is happening. But most of them will send some noise signatures, sound signatures. I mean, something that could be emitting something like 25, 30 decibels with simple sensors, again, Indian developed, can detect 4 or 5 kilometers away. That's what we have developed, and that's a lot to do with the way you crunch the data, remove the noise, filtering it and analyzing it. So that's something. It's taken 2 years for us to even identify a drone. Now I am proud to say that we have at least the 3 areas which I can't mention where our system is being tested, and we'll be deploying to our country.
Fantastic. Congratulations. Amazing work. Pawan, this is one question which I think a lot of startups here would be interested in, which is that the challenge of the unit economics. Well, there are VCs funding you and you can, invest as much as you want, but at some point, the economics has to kick in, like you have to start making profit at the unit level. How is Rapido approaching this, issue of unit economics? How do you philosophically and from a strategy point of view deal with it?
So for us, profitability goes beyond, let's say, investors' expectation or market expectations. Like I said, one of the core philosophies of Rapido is to create impact. And when I say impact, there is a sense of sustainability of that impact. I'll give you a quick example. So back during 2020, obviously it was the first wave of COVID, and it was hard times for almost everybody. And our captains were also out of job because transportation has come to a standstill. So we decided that we will do something for our captains, and all the team got together. The founders gave their monthly salaries, the team contributed, and a bunch of our users contributed. And we donated that money in the form of groceries to our captains. Okay, everything was well and good. We all felt happy. The next year, the second wave came. And this time it came much more severe.
Delta.
Right? And to the fact that our team members in our own company were dealing with a lot of challenges, and we were just struggling to keep up with it. At that time, we understood it is like the impact that we created in terms of donations the last year did not exceed to the next year. It did not help the captain the second time it came. For us, we see Rapido as a socio-economic upliftment engine. We see it as a path of financial independence for a lot of people out there. If for some reason this platform ceased to exist, that impact ceased to exist. Suddenly those livelihoods cease to exist. For us, that is a core philosophy. So, which is why we at Rapido have always had profitability at the core. So as of today, Rapido is operationally profitable for every ride that it does. We have also achieved EBITDA profitability last year.
Congratulations.
So, yes.
Great. So I think we're now towards the end of our fireside conversation. So Satish, I'm going to wrap it up with you by asking a question which probably is very important from your perspective and also from others who want to get into the defense space. How do you scale? What is the enabling environment that you will need, be it from a government policy perspective or any funding perspective or access to even talent from outside, not just necessarily from India, and access to technology, high-end technology? What is the 4 or 5 things you think you'll need to become a large, successful, homegrown story, an Atmanirbhar in defense sector story?
I can speak about in the space that I am in, Sridhar. So just to give a perspective, I make small arms. I make about 9 different platforms. I make from pistols all the way to sniper rifles, assault rifles, submachine guns, everything in-house, designed and developed. I also make ammunition, which is make the bullets. I make about 9, again, different variants of bullets. Now, for us to scale, like I said, for us to get the first order, it took 7 years. Today, I have a capacity to make about 100,000 weapons. I'm also very proud to tell that we were the first Indian arms maker to actually exhibit overseas. Our company exhibited in Paris. Called it's the exhibition is called Millipol. It's military police, and I was surprised by the amount of interest I've got globally. So otherwise, normally Indians are not associated with selling weaponry. But now I have to quickly scale it up to about 500,000 weapons a year. One of the first things that we did was to create good ecosystem. So everything is not possible by you. So even in a weapon, we hold the design as the core, and we segregate what are the critical parts and what are the parts that I can outsource. So I've created 36 suppliers around me who can scale up. And I have all NDAs signed and so on and so forth, so that there's absolute loyalty to the designs that I have provided. This is the way I have managed to create an ecosystem by which I can scale up. On the funding side, Sridhar, it's a big problem for everybody. We have to find our resources, and I know many entrepreneurs have this problem when they want to scale up. And fortunately, in my personal opinion, in India, even to raise finance, is not as challenging as it was when I entered the industry, let's say about 20 years back. Today, different sources are there. I mean, you can see the stock market, IPO market, investors. There's multiple ways by which you can access funds, in my personal opinion. It is not as challenging as it was even 10 years back. That's my opinion.
So I think more power to both these gentlemen, because these are 2 amazing entrepreneurs doing phenomenal stuff. One at a different end of the spectrum, and another at a very tech end, deep tech end. So more power to both of you, and thank you for making this evening, enriching and sharing your thoughts and inspiring a lot of people out there, I'm sure. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's give these gentlemen a big round of applause, please.
All right, thank you so much for that. Requesting a photo opportunity quickly before we move on. Okay, moving on to the last conversation for the day, and that is about our very own homegrown businesses, our homegrown family-run businesses and their next stage of evolution and growth. And it will be yours truly who will be moderating this next conversation. And to have the conversation, let me invite all the panelists on stage. We have Dr. Sampath Dorirajan, Family Business Consultant. Ladies and gentlemen, huge round of applause for Dr. Sampath Dorirajan. We have Mr. Shankar Ram, Founder and CEO of Peps Industries Private Limited. We also have Mr. Ashwani Narang, Partner, Deloitte India. And of course, Mr. V.T. Chandrasekharan, Chairman and Managing Director of Emerald Tires. Ladies and gentlemen, huge round of applause for all the panelists. All right, thank you so much to all of you for being with us. We are standing between you and dinner, so we'll make sure that the next 30 minutes goes off in the best possible way. So without further ado, I have 2 sets of people here with me. One is the ones who consult, who are the consultants who tell family businesses what they do when they have questions. And other ones, we have some very famous, long-standing family businesses operating in sectors, interesting sectors. So let me ask the consultants first, and then I will come to you as well. Tell us, Mr. Dorarajan, when it comes to family-run businesses, so many listed companies in this country are family-run, family-owned or family-founded businesses. And when they have to make that transition into a professionally run governance structure, tell us, how are they doing it without using the core DNA, their own unique DNA of that founder-led company? How are they doing it? What are the challenges that they are facing in your experience of having consulted with companies?
Thank you for this opportunity. Generally, in family-run businesses, the one I have seen being as a consultant is that there is a DNA in them that we would like to be part of that legacy that we have. But to a large extent, it gets lost because the next generation of children do not want to take it up because they don't see money in that. And they have seen their fathers struggle and they don't want to go through that. Even if they go through that, the third generation definitely doesn't want to. Also, the problem is there is no storytelling. People don't tell them how important it is to get into business. That is missing. Because of the DNA part of it, the values have to be imbibed into them at the very beginning. Otherwise, it becomes extremely difficult for them to be part of it. So the best thing would be to have a professional. But when you have a professional, you have a family which runs it, which has been running it for a long time. You do not want to give the authority so easily. And when they don't give the authority, the professionals fail. Take Godrej, for example. Predominant directors are outside of the family. Dabur, predominant directors are outside of the family, which only shows that if you want to professionalize, it's so easy to do it. But that will to make it happen has to be there with the family. The structure will remain the same. Only thing is you'll have to fine-tune it to make sure professionals run it and they are given free hand to run it. Ask them when they make a mistake. Hindu newspaper, for example, they have given it to professionals from 2013 onwards, and they are running it effectively even today. Take Times of India, for example. Mr. Ramakrishna Dalmia, when he bought out the paper in 1946, this is the fifth generation that is running it. And they have been running it successfully, predominantly successfully.
Many examples, including the Birla family, who have been doing it for over 100 years.
No, sorry, one to tell you is that Mr. Ghanshyam Das Birla, when he started the Birla family, look at it where they have grown. It's all because their professionals manage it so well, Aditya Birla Group or any group. Okay. They all do it so well.
Okay. Mr. Shankar Ram, let me come to you, and then I'll take it to Mr. V.T. Chandrasekharan as well. The question here is that how do you do it? You're a company which had three partners. How is it different from the traditional single, person, single family owned, family business and the way it worked for you? And how has decision making been influenced because of that unique structure that you have?
The thing is, we've been having about 2-3 different companies with us, and each one concentrates on one of the companies. Okay, so that way we've been quite lucky that we don't interfere too much on each other's business. But we definitely share what we can do together, and that conversation takes place on and off. But basically the business is run by one person who's responsible there for running industries. And we had 2 industries because you always had the fear one industry might collapse and you got another industry to back you up. Okay, so in that in mind, we had a coir mattress industry, then we had a printed circuit board industry, and then we have the spring mattress industry. Luckily, 2 mattress industries and 1 electronic industry. So we took the approach in that way because all 3 sick industries came to us, and we just plunged into it and then enjoyed the game off.
And how was, infusing professional management in these businesses?
No, as you said very clearly, I'm in that phase right now, and I'm in the space of this mattress business, and I've seen a lot of professionalism taking place in a lot of other companies, and it has not been successful out there. So today, I'm stuck out here. So the new approach which I just thought was I'll hire a guy, make him run it, but tell him I'm your executive assistant or I'm your helper. Okay, take some basic advice from me. That's all.
Okay. Before I come to you, Mr. Narang, quickly let me get the take of the people as well, of the people who've been running this business. Well, tell us, before we go any further, what has been your experience when it comes to, getting that professional management and ensuring that they are able to take decisions?
Yeah, thank you for having me. See, professionalism should be the first word to be adopted in a company. Unless and otherwise, you have, as an entrepreneur, that's only something which you can do, and you depend on people around you to run your organization. So unless and otherwise you professionalize right from the beginning, it would be difficult to scale up. So the most important thing for anyone, for any company to be successful is to professionalize. And I'm sure that's what we have adapted in our company. And right from day one, me and my father, we got into entrepreneurship together. So he comes from a professional background. He was a banker. And as we started, the first thing he told me was that you cannot do everything by yourself. You need to have people around you and give them the freedom, and they will help you scale up. And we are proud that we come to this level because the people who have been associated with us are still there, and they carry the pride of the company the way an entrepreneur does.
Okay, so interesting. So there is unlike you said, there's no soap opera drama, in your family where, the father wanted you to take up this and you said, no way, Jose, and then you were like, yes, Dad, sure, definitely, So that's interesting, isn't it? And Mr. Narang, tell us, Mr. Sampath spoke about his experience of, while consulting. And I want to know, when it comes to Deloitte, and in your Deloitte's experience of consulting with companies in that country, companies looking to diversify, companies looking to take their organization to the next stage of evolution, what has been your experience? What have been the challenges for them?
I think, thank you for having me, and I think it's great to hear how the conglomerates are thinking, how a consultant would react to that. But then when it comes to diversification, see, what we have seen is, if you look at, we are in Gen 3.0, and I think why I say that is because the promoters used to own the company in Gen 1.0. In 2.0, they built some structure to it. They scaled it to a particular area, domain, expertise as such. But 3.0 is where they are now partnering globally. And technology is actually taking it further in order for them to actually reach outside of the country, for that matter, the domain. And that's where the question of diversification becomes very important. So, and I think one thing which was coming out, professionalism is very, very important. It's the way I would see it is that the promoter should set the what, and the management should own the how. And that is how we basically look at diversification as well. So there are a few important things when you look at diversification. One of them I would say is when you're looking at diversification, do not leave your core. Core becomes very important, and that's where core versus non-core should be defined very clearly. The KPIs then become very important, and I think one thumb rule says, and I'm sure sir would know better than me, but do not invest more than 10 to 12% of your net worth into a new business. And that's where you need to hedge the risk. And that's where basically diversification then becomes important. And then comes the outcome, what we are trying to achieve. And that is what basically we all strive for, to get the output back to us. So this is how Deloitte would look at probably sitting down with you, a very simple question which would come from a promoter. I'm a 200 crore rupees company. I want to become a 2,500 crore rupees company tomorrow with an IPO. How fast can you help me, and how can you do that? That's where we basically get the framework going.
Fascinating. Fascinating. We'll get to that as well. You took the conversation really forward, but Mr. Sampath, I have to ask you at this stage, we're here at Visionaries of Viksit Bharat, TV9 Networks, Visionaries of Viksit Bharat in association with SAP. Technology, there are many ways of, describing it: disruptor, transformer, the future, the present, the past even to a large extent. For family-run businesses in the country, adapting to technology and adopting technology and making technology and artificial intelligence an integral part of their organization's growth and evolution is going to be crucial. It's already crucial today. We can't call AI the future. I think it's wrong to call AI the future. AI is the present. It's a question of how you use the present to leverage the future better of AI. So tell us, in your experience, and it comes with it so many concerns. There is data concerns, so privacy concerns, how much this will change the way we as an organization function, because the human touch is going to be extremely important within the office, even without having consumer-facing, roles as well. So tell us, in your experience, how has that been when it comes to homegrown businesses taking to technology?
Historically, if you see, companies like Birla's and also Valsanagar Industries were given an advantage of having cars, which is absolute monopoly, Ambassador and the Fiat, but they never managed to do beyond that. But if you look at companies now, for example, you take Mahindra's, for example. You take Bajaj, for example. Even though Bajaj were given an advantage earlier days on manufacturing scooters, today they lead the market share in Africa in motorcycles. You take Tata's, for example. They have done phenomenally well they're now beyond in everything they are there. So let's take TVS, for example. They are into everything as far as automotive is concerned. They're doing brilliantly well. So I think Indian industries per se have understood that there is no point sitting on the laurels and waiting for it. They have adapted technology much better than a lot of other countries. And there is also one thing that we need to understand, that I think one thing that as Indians we have not done is keeping record. We have for thousands of years have been family business companies. We have been running. We have been selling items to Roman Empire in 100 BC and things like that, but we have never recorded anything. So that is in our blood to do better. And I think we as a nation can do far better because our industrialists can do far better.
Yeah, you took some big names over there. Those are some really big names. The Tatas, you're talking about taking to technology. Let's talk about the mid-sized, the MSME companies in this country.
Sorry, I'll just tell you, I work for a company in Bangalore, and they are a 125 crore company, and they have the latest in terms of technology they have brought in. They have paid huge amount of money, but today they are in the cusp of a fabulous growth. I work for them in Pinya.
So, Mr. V.T. Chandrasekharan, quickly, I thought you wanted to comment on that. How is you do something that's so niche, that's so dependent on technology as a product in the first place, and then using technology to make that product.
No, technology is something like all other speakers of the day have been talking about. It's inevitable. It's something which you cannot miss. Every day there's something new happening. You got to catch up. From an MSME perspective, what happens is you are always catching up. There are too many things to catch up. One side you have to look at the market. One side you have to look at production. And on top of it, on top of everything is this AI demon sitting. You want to understand things.
Demon, you said. AI demon.
No, the way it is coming up and the way you got to catch over it, it's really a challenge. When you are trying to, from a 100 crore company, you want to become a 1,000 crore company, you are looking at markets, and suddenly you are also looking at a new technology. Probably, you might come across a time when people don't want tires, and something can fly. So what are you going to do about it? You got to think, what is the other thing other than a tire you can do? So these are areas where you got to keep thinking and you got to keep evolving. And I'm sure many other companies, many MSMEs are thinking laterally to grow.
Mr. Shankar Rao, I have to ask you this again, because strangely his niche company is also something where the product is so technology dependent, and so is yours. You're a very technology dependent product. But I'm curious to know, how is technology driving you as an organization? One is that mattress technology, which has gone through so much evolution since you entered the market. Now it's sleep tech. There's this different words for different kind of mattresses that come out. That is on one hand. The other is the technology that drives Pep's mattresses as a company.
Honestly, to tell you, there's some good jargons that are going around in the mattress space.
That's why I said.
I'm telling you very honestly. And that guy's English is slightly better than anyone else's. Okay. And he's got up in the morning and selected a correct word. And to his luck, he's got some good guy to market it across. In the mattress space, there's not too much of technology. I should not tell you that part of it. But in the mattress space, there's a lot of engineering to do. Okay, and the engineering aspect really helps you to delight a customer off. Okay, that's all I can say is my differentiation to another matters part of it. And that you keep on innovating because you want to delight a person off on a constant basis. So when your motto is that, you continuously see to that, you do a lot of small improvisations, and thereby you feel happy about it and take it forward.
Then tell us the technology systems that run at Peps Matters.
No, we got all the best equipments there, the best machineries out there to make sure that we get the correct springs. I can't be as good as him, but I've heard of his company like right from a kid days. The best address in Bangalore city was his company in Koramangala. And we guys are, the thing what happens to guys like us is we are first generation entrepreneurs, okay? The first dream is what to do 1 crore a month. The second dream is to touch 100 crores. And when you touch 100 crores, you think you're made it in life. The next you say,
it's
tell
like
yourself.
A movie, isn't it?
Then next you tell yourself.
100 crore means
next you tell yourself, I want to do 500 crores. And when you touch 500 crores, guys like us, you get stuck off there. And you feel happy about it. Okay, honestly, I'll tell you something. We've been stuck in that particular figure for some time now. And it is the next part of it for us to think differently and see what we can do slightly more different, slightly better. Because ambitions get set and you feel happy. And I think right now we're just looking at how we can really grow it up to the next level.
And Narang, that's what I wanted to come to you on. The thing is that how do companies do that? What are the kind of risk management frameworks that are needed that, especially companies looking to diversify, expand, diversify internationally? How does a company do that without forsaking the stability that this family-run business brings?
Yeah, no, I think that's very important, and I think that's the ethos or the moot point wherein we do not want to lose the culture of a company, the culture, the heritage of the family, but at the same time we want to be modern. At the same time we want to leverage the technology, and that's where I think the three important things which comes to my mind is that you need to definitely look at technology as an enabler. Now, since we are sitting in an SAP-led event, I would say people are looking at, for example, a cloud ERP these days, and that becomes important because that's where the innovation is coming up. We connect with each other very quickly on LinkedIn, but what's your LinkedIn with your business partners? Do you have a LinkedIn of your own with your business partners? We talk about sustainability, but when you look at Scope 3, BRSR guidelines, the Government of India is going to push you to give those data out. Do you have a mechanism to do that? And that's where you need to basically modernize your thought process as well with the system to say, while I stick to the ethos, I stick to the foundation which the family built in this particular company, at the same time, the technology needs to enable me to have a modern mindset. And therefore, the risk framework would come across that. Otherwise, we would probably get left behind, not getting connected to the world. And that is how things are moving these days. So it's important that we look at all these three aspects, and then technology and risk both would come as a part and parcel of it.
Fascinating. Sampath, that's the question I want to come to you as well. How do, in your own experience, what would be your advice to companies? How do they go about doing it without losing that core stability and the culture that built this company in the first place, and yet go from 100 to 1,000 crores or maybe even more than that? What do you think are the guardrails that they need to look at while doing that?
See, when I wanted to do, I had always been working for family business, so I thought I will do a PhD on family business, and I went to Banastali Vidyapith in Rajasthan because that was the best place to do it. It was such a learning experience, having stayed there for a year, to know how they do business. There is a family constitution that happens. There is a family charter that happens. So the child, when the boy around 12, 14, 15, 18, he knows the business so well. And he's taught these are the guidelines to follow. Let's take Murugappa Group, for example. They have a clear family charter, family constitution. You cannot break that constitution for anything on earth. So the first step would be to have the family constitution derived so well that it forms a platform for them to grow. And then the legacy part of it has to be told, which many of the industrialists or the businessmen do not do it. The child has to know that I take pride in the legacy of the organization. Once that happens, then the next step would be that I would like to be a passionate follower of my father or my uncle, or my mother, or brother, or whomsoever. There are companies in India which have been doing so well, which are below the radar, and doing phenomenally well. The one guiding force that anything and every businessman ideally would be following, it's not that I would like to say they don't follow, ideally they would follow, is that push the legacy part of it, storytelling part of it, and most importantly, keep clear guidelines to say, you cannot cross this line. And unless we do that, things will not change.
Mr. Chandrasekharan, your father had a checkered career, did some incredible work in banking, and then here you are with him starting out with this business. Tell us, if you can throw some light on it. He's spoken so passionately about that storytelling of that legacy and the father being the literal father figure. What was it like for you when you're starting out with this company and you have a father who has his checkered career, worked with the who's who of India's banking industry?
Yeah, I mean to say, when we started, my father gave me just one advice that, he was still in service and he had taken his pension fund, he had put it in the business, and he said, son, this is my entire life saving. I have put it into this business. Now, if you do well, the family survives. Otherwise, you have a brother who is still studying. So this was none of the challenge which was thrown at me. But then that fueled my passion to get into the shop floor, be there all the time. Sometimes when you are in a family, a lot of threat works. It is difficult to digest when you hear it for the first time. But then, that's what fuels you to work passionately and make things successful. And I think my dad was very successful at that. Even today, when I'm talking to him, every day he throws challenges at me and says, this is where you are and what are you going to do next? So that keeps pushing you. That guidance is there, and you have to work on the guidance. Right now, what I do with my son is I take him along with me. I've already started, like you said, the legacy is there. Now we built a brand, so we have to leverage on it. And unless and otherwise we involve everyone in the family, it's going to be difficult to carry it for the future. Of course, professionalizing the institution is also so very important.
I want to close with some thoughts on what was it like for you and what is it like for you today? Because the journey so far has been one way, but the journey going forward is going to be another way.
No, I think I made one mistake of not talking to my kids and telling them at the younger stage, you must come into business. But I've had also a lot of friends of mine who they took over their dad's business and they used to curse what my dad gave me this business to be. Okay, so I've seen that part of it also. So these days what I do is, I have my granddaughter with me. I hope she becomes an entrepreneur. Okay, and I keep telling her, hey, today I'm meeting some very good distributors, I'm meeting some good people, and I'm going to do this. And my daughter runs a couple of stores. So my granddaughter is telling her mom, Amma, stop mattress business, get clothes business. A lot of walk-ins will come, so something like that. So, I became an entrepreneur because I used to walk behind my wife. My mother, okay, I used to walk behind my mom, and my mom was an entrepreneur. She used to run an ITI ancillary. So half the time I used to spend with her and just sitting out in one corner. And that's how I think I became an entrepreneur. But it's a great journey and it's a super journey. But one thing in entrepreneur part of it, to give a business to the next generation, and it's tough running industries. Okay, this is what we think, and it's not so easy to run. And to give them an industry with slightly tighter margins, you must also think: did you do the correct job or not? So one way I still am slightly mixed up, but sometimes you think about it, they got a passion to come into business themselves. They must also like that they can contribute and understand business, So these days, what I'm trying to work on, I'm trying to teach some young kids to do transaction, okay? That is, my dear friend, buy a mattress from me, sell it to your dad, make $2,000 and feel happy that you made 2,000 rupees, And imagine this transaction, this younger generation, they must learn how to earn money also. The faster they earn how to earn money, I think they'll become good guys when they come out to the open market and things like that.
Fascinating. And with those thoughts, I guess we're out of time over here on this conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, Huge round of applause for the panelists for that wonderful conversation. Thank you so much, all of you. Before you leave the stage, requesting all of you to please come for a photo op. I guess with that, we've reached the end of the evening. But before that, we have, of course, the vote of thanks to be delivered. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Another round of applause for the gentleman on stage for that wonderful conversation. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. We can continue with all those conversations after this as well. We have dinner and drinks lined up. But before that, quickly, for the vote of thanks, let me please invite on stage Mr. Anshul Gupta, Director of Marketing, Corporate, SAP India, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh.
Well, what an evening it has been, right? It's been an honor, true honor, to host August gathering of policy makers, industry leaders, entrepreneurs, and business owners. Today we heard some stories of grit and gumption, stories of transformation, perspectives, and on opportunities and challenges that lie ahead for SMEs as we march ahead to Viksit Bharat mission. Well, it is estimated that SMEs must contribute close to about $8.6 trillion worth to the overall economic ecosystem, right, for country. Now, if we have to realize this mission, it is very critical for companies like us sitting in this room to, take the game to next level. And all of us would agree that next wave of growth will come when these small businesses become medium-sized and mid-sized businesses become large enterprises, right? We at SAP are totally committed to this vision, to this cause, and are here with you by your side as partners in your transformation journey. On behalf of SAP, I would like to thank Honorable Minister who was here, Shri Priyank Kharge. I would like to thank all our speakers and panelists for sharing their insights, through the day. Some very interesting panel discussions that we had today. And our transformation partner, Deloitte, who were there, who made this event possible. And of course, TV9 Network for hosting this wonderful evening together. Well, thanks for being a wonderful audience today. With that, I'll hand it back to Krishna. Thanks, Krishna.
Thank you, Anshul, for that. And of course, with that, we've come to the end of the evening, the end of the Bengaluru edition of Visionaries of Viksit Bharat, the TV9 Network, Visionaries of Viksit Bharat, in association with SAP Transformation Partner, Deloitte. Thank you so much. You've been a wonderful audience. A huge round of applause for all of you who've taken time out and been with us through the evening. Requesting all of you to now please move forward with some dinner and drinks. Thank you.